Hundreds took to the streets of Ghana's capital Accra last week to protest over its deteriorating economy. Days later, the government of one of West Africa's most prosperous nations announced it would begin formal talks with the International Monetary Fund for support. It was a decision many analysts long thought inevitable, despite repeated pledges from Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to never again seek IMF assistance. Why did the country reverse course? And what could the IMF demand in return? Let's find out.
This was Accra, Ghana, in the first week of July. Ghanaians are infuriated by the dwindling economy. There's no food and fuel, and the currency cedi is crumbling due to rising inflation. Inflation hit an 18-year high of 27.6% in May, topping a year of accelerating prices. Growth slowed to 3.3% in the first quarter, and the value of the cedi has declined 23.5% against the dollar since the year began. The President Nana Akufo-Addo claims the contrary. He says the economy has begun to firm up and the cedi has systematically appreciated against the dollar. The pandemic, just like the rest of the world, has dented Ghana's growth. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta told lawmakers last month that pandemic-related expenditure amounted to 18.19 billion cedis, or $2.26 billion, as of May 2022. The country received $1.23 billion in COVID-19 relief funding from the IMF and World Bank over that period. Prices of imported goods rose more than domestically produced ones for the second month in a row in May, including cereals, 20% of which Ghana imports from Russia, having repeatedly seen some of the largest price hikes. Petroleum prices have nearly doubled year on year. Authorities were still unsure about seeking IMF support only 2 weeks ago, but found their hands tied after lawmakers stalled a $1 billion loan and an unpopular electronic payments tax meant to generate revenues underperformed. Authorities hope an IMF program would relieve Ghana's nearly $1 billion balance of payments deficit, which Central Bank Governor Ernest Addison said may result from capital exodus caused by global factors. But experts say the root of Ghana's problem is likely fiscal, as it utilizes continuously greater loans to plug its double-digit fiscal deficit. The Finance Ministry's plan for amortizing that debt rests squarely with the IMF, which said it would help the country regain access to international capital markets and roll over existing debt after recent credit rating downgrades cooled lender interest. Many have questioned the sustainability of that strategy. The Finance Ministry figures show that interest payments have been the government's largest annual expense since 2019 and were its second largest expense for 5 straight years prior to that. While Ghana's Eurobonds rallied on the news the government would seek IMF help, yields for all but the issue maturing this year remain above 10%, the level seen as cutting a country off from issuing new debt as it becomes too expensive. When Ghana last sought IMF assistance in 2015, it received $918 million through an extended credit facility arrangement, equal to 180% of its quota. This time, Ghana has proposed its own enhanced domestic program to the IMF, which would last a minimum of 3 years. It remains to be seen if Africa's darling of the economy will regain its lost glory.